What's up guys, Isaac here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to start your own Instagram marketing agency so that you can start making money at home and eventually scale it to $10,000 per month plus. To help me out, I've got Christian Boost, who's a master of Instagram going viral. He does consulting, he does the agency model, he does it all. He's also got a group with 10,000 members on Facebook, one of the biggest groups for Instagram marketing. So go check that out. Check out his channel down below. Let's just get into it.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Christian here. And in this video, I wanted to introduce Isaac. Isaac is somebody I've known for a while. I actually reached out to you, man, way back in the day, trying to buy a shout out off you. And I noticed you had like a YouTube channel, and like I was like, how can I get some free shout outs? And we worked out a deal. Could you just tell us a little bit about how you started with social media marketing and just online marketing and got into Instagram, and just your story and anything else like that?
Way back, and that was awesome that you reached out to my value proposition, because if you just wanted a shout out, I would have probably said no. But because you saw that I had a group and I was trying to promote my channel, I just said yes straight away. Well, social media marketing, I started in 2000 and I think it was 2014, 2015. I was doing Instagram, but I didn't even know it was called social media marketing at the time. I was doing follow unfollow with follow liker. I had like a babes page, with like all the girls with the big booties, and I thought that was the way to go. Like I saw that I was racking up followers real quick. And I was like, damn, I'm a pro. I got like 50,000 followers. And I was thinking I was the man. But when it came time to it, couldn't monetize anything. So I had to go back to the drawing boards. I just went in and out of Instagram for a while, dabbled with YouTube for a bit. But then I actually found you a couple years back and your group. And that's what really helped me set my foundation and start creating my agency, which has been really helpful still to this day.
Yeah. So do you primarily just do Instagram for your entire agency? Like you don't sell any other like SEO services or anything like that? Because I do know, in my opinion, brother, you are like the SEO wizard, like for Instagram stuff. You could rank anything on Instagram related keywords, I feel like.
It's easy to rank on Instagram related keywords because nobody is bothering with SEO for Instagram. So it's like open season. Nah, for my agency, I do primarily Facebook ads. I do a little bit of funnel stuff, but yeah, I do focus on Instagram because I feel like Instagram is such a niche market. I know there's a lot of people on there's like a billion active users, but when you look at the actual Instagram marketers or Instagram-based agencies, there aren't really that many. Like you probably count them with like two hands. So if you know how to grow on Instagram, it's almost like you're a wizard. People just look at you like, damn, so that was the way to go. I first thought about focus primarily on Facebook ads, but I feel like the competition is quite steep there in terms of people really know their stuff. People have been doing Facebook ads for the past like several years and dialing the process in and building the foundation. But with Instagram, there aren't that many agencies, man, as you know.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I think it's just being able to sub-niche yourself in a way, just is way easier to actually get clients. I think like Russell Brunson talks about it, like making your own blue ocean in like a red ocean. Facebook ads might be super saturated, but if you can like niche yourself, like even just do Instagram ads for followers or something, or even just do like, you have a really specific service like Instagram ads for like entrepreneurs or like a specific type of personal brand, you're just going to be able
Hell
to
yeah.
kill it. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Even if you like focus just on IGTV or stories or one particular component of Instagram, you just like become the master of that. There's a lot of leverage in that too. So I always tell people to niche down because it's going to be a lot easier to get clients.
Yeah. And honestly, I start to feel like Instagram growth is kind of like almost, I wouldn't want to say too saturated, but it's almost already pretty saturated. I don't know if that's because like Josue Pena like pushed like a ton of money through his course and like average, like people are considering it like almost like the next drop shipping like type of business model, which I think people just don't realize that it's a business. Like, it takes work. It's not super
Oh yeah,
easy. But
100%.
go ahead and tell me a little bit about like how have you actually found clients and got like a ton of success and like, man, just yeah.
I guess what would be beneficial for our audiences is probably just both of us talking about how we got our first clients
Okay,
and
yeah, all right.
and learn from that. So I got my first client for Instagram marketing. I was growing this page at the time. It was a transformation page. I'm sure you know about it. It's the one that you sent me a DM for a shout out. I think I had like 40,000 followers or something like that. And I was just making money from shout outs at the time. So someone DM'd me And they wanted a shout out for this particular program that they were building. And they told me their whole backstory about how they had a business and how they quit their past business and they were trying to start this whole new online business, but I had no idea what they were doing. So I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to take the loss on this shout out and actually pitch these people. So I told them straight up, I'm like, look, you're trying to start this business. This shout out is not really going to do much for you, right? It's just going to be like a one-time thing. You might get a couple followers. You might get one sale, but this is not a long-term strategy. What you guys need is an email marketing funnel. You need a autoresponder set up. You need a landing page. You need this, that. You need Facebook ads. So I went back and forth with this person for literally about 2 hours, just explaining everything to them, like what an email autoresponder was, what Facebook ads were, why they needed this foundation instead of just shout outs. So through that process, I won their trust, and they were like, yeah, we want you to set up for us. So I was like, damn, all right. So it was by accident that this actually happened. I still remember I was so like excited over it, and it was only like a $400 client, but that was my first client. It was like $400 per month. It progressively went up as I like upsold them on different things. As I actually like said, guys, I'll set up the emails for you. I'll set up the funnel for you. But yeah, that was a good experience. How about you?
Man, so my first client, okay, so like technically my first client, I got started and I bought this like Tai Lopez SMMA course, like the notorious Tai Lopez course. And
in my garage.
Yeah. I didn't actually buy it off that ad, but like I definitely saw it. And it was really funny, man, because at that point in my life, like the only other purchase I had really made that was more expensive than that was the car I had. So like to me, it was like a really big deal. And I was in school and I got like 30K in debt, man, but it didn't really seem like real debt to me because it was like this loan with like a really low interest rate and I didn't really have to pay anything at that moment. But to actually come with like the $1,000 like and pay for the entire thing, I did that, and I like watched the first little season of it, man. I got all the way through. I'm like super hyped, and like Ty's like amping you up. He's like, "You're gonna kill it. You're gonna make $10,000 a month, like in like no problem, like 2 to 3 months." And then I remember getting to like this one video with Joe Soto on Facebook advertising. It was like an hour and a half long. It was just like right after like the easy like 2 to 4 minute videos, he hits you with this like super technical video, and then like all the other ones. So I started working my way through those, but I just didn't want to wait to get like clients. And I found some people on YouTube, and they were posting videos, and they were like just they were just like holding their cameras and stuff too, and they were going door to door to get clients. So I was like, these are what these guys are doing. Like they say they're killing it. Like I don't even know if they're actually killing it, you know. But like I'm like, I'm gonna go do what they do, and I went door to door, and I tried that, and it was so difficult, man. Like I remember going to like, I think it was like 15 different places in a row. And like, I was in Palm Springs, like, and I was like wearing this suit, bro. And like, I was covered in sweat, and it was like 110 degrees in Palm Springs. Like, and I ended up getting like one client to basically, I didn't even really tell them what I was doing. I just told them like, hey, I want to manage your social media. And yeah, so like I tried to do posting. It was for like no money, dude. I think it was like $200, like for like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Because I wasn't really listening to what Tai Lopez said, where he's like, sell everybody for 1,000. Like I didn't even really use Twitter. Like I had just used Facebook with friends and never really used Instagram. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started. And that was like the worst way to find clients. And I soon thereafter realized that if I went on Craigslist and typed in the keyword like social media marketing, like Instagram, Twitter, that I could find people who were like actually interested in it, because a lot of these people, like they paid for this primo piece of real estate on like Palm Canyon, which is like a really touristy area. Like they got their business because of the location, not necessarily because of social media, and they didn't believe in it. So
yeah, that's the issue.
That for me was like the huge breakthrough, because before that, man, like I had just like done the wrong types of stuff. And by actually finding people who had an interest and wanted a position filled, it was just so much easier to actually close them on, one, like more money, and then two, like they were just easier people to work with. Like I remember the guy who I got on posting, like it was always like he was a pain, like being like, yo, like, is this even doing anything, you know? Like, and they always wanted more, and I didn't do the right thing, you know? Like I didn't like specify exactly what I was going to do for them. I didn't have like a service list because I didn't know, man. And
I guess that's how it is when you start. Like you take on the wrong clients, Basically, you don't really know. You're just kind of looking at the sale. You're like, sweet, a sale, and you go for it. And it turns out to be a lot more trouble than good sometimes. Like what you find as you go along, sometimes your highest paying clients are the easiest clients to deal with. They don't really bother you that much because they've got their own shit to do. And chances are, whatever they're paying you, it doesn't make them lose sleep at night. You know what I mean? Even if
Yeah.
it's like 2,000, 3,000, they're not losing sleep over that. They're just like, all right, just do your job. I'm going to do my thing. Whereas some of these cheaper clients that are paying you like nothing when you're starting, that's like a half their net worth or something. So they're
Yeah.
trying to milk you for everything.
Or they're trying to like, they have $1,000 to invest and start a business and like they're paying you 500, like they're going to be on you because they're putting all your eggs in your basket, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. That's the position you don't want to be in. That's exactly how my first client was actually. The issue was I sold them on the service, but I didn't know that whatever they were trying to pitch wasn't going to work because they were just 20 years behind. So it doesn't matter how good my marketing was, doesn't matter how good the landing page. Like I had this sick landing page that was converting at like 70%. I collected like thousands of emails for them and they sold like 3 things.
It's
So
crazy.
but it always comes back to bite you in the ass and they're like, yo, we sold 3 things. Your thing's not working. But it's almost like a lot of people don't want to take accountability for their own service, their own businesses. I always advise people to work with businesses that are already like doing it, like doing well or
Yeah.
crushing it, instead of trying to save a business that's crumbling because you won't be able
Or
to.
build one up because I can't agree with that more, man. Like if you're looking for a good client, like they need to be already selling stuff because your job isn't to
Yeah,
go like fix their funnel or their Instagram page or like whatever it is, you know, it's just to ideally get them more traffic. And
yeah,
there are things you can like change and be like, hey, if you just make this button bigger, or like maybe make it green or, you know, like it might help. But that's like one of the best tips for people. And to actually, I think, look for people who are businesses, and you can also do personal brands, but it's also really important those personal brands already have a successful business, like
yeah,
because
100%. That's another good thing. Like if you understand business, you can kind of put that into your services and like instead of just growth for an influencer, you do like consulting services where you help them actually structure their business. Like there's a lot of influencers out there that are killing it in terms of engagement, in terms of popularity, but they have no idea like how to monetize their page. So if you just give them some basics, they'll love you for
OnlyFans,
that.
bro. I'm just pulling your leg.
Don't even get me started about that. Man, these people with OnlyFans are making more money than like top agency owners right now.
It's a good business model. I actually talking with this guy, Austin, super cool guy. And he's like, man, he's
Yeah.
like, I did all this black hat automation stuff and I was making great money at it, but then it all just kind of went. And he's like, now he's building back up OnlyFans. He's like, recurring subscriptions. He's like, these are every month, dude. Like, no problems. Like, Instagram can't patch it. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
yeah, but
What other questions are people asking?
back real quick, back to the clients.
Yeah.
Uh, I think looking for the right type of client is really important, especially if they are higher ticket. And if it is a higher
Yeah.
ticket client, I've had times where I've been too hungry and I sold them on a service and then it just ended up not working out for them. And if you do everything through PayPal or like Stripe, generally, like they can open a claim and it's really easy.
Yeah.
And like, it's better to just tell somebody, you know, if you just don't think it's a good fit or if there's like price is a different factor, or if you just can't help them, than to actually like try and I think, you know, do something that you just can't do.
Yeah. You need to think about your overall stress in life too. You don't want to be staying up late worrying about your clients and going, damn, are they going to charge back? Am I going to be able to fulfill this? And trying to, I guess, tackle this unbeatable task when you could just get a few other clients that are within your skill set that you can crush it for, that you can make happy. They're happy, you're happy, and life is just good. I'd rather take a smaller client and know I can do the job and be happy than take a large client and live underneath that stress.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the best like tips is just always under promise and over deliver if you can, because if you
Of
just
course.
set the expectation here and if their expectation is here, but it's just, it doesn't, it never works out. Like if their expectation is here and you only deliver here, like if you get them 10,000 followers and they're expecting 15, they're not going to be happy. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think
yeah.
that's
Well,
super
what are some
important.
red flags that you see, like that tell you that someone's a bad client or that it's probably not going to work out?
Okay, one is like them trying to negotiate lower pricing. That's like a huge red flag. Like my pricing is not negotiable. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm,
um, so that's a big
yeah.
one. I also really make sure they're getting sales. Like I'll generally ask them about numbers. And if it's like a 5 to 10 minute call, like I can usually respect that maybe they don't want to tell me about like a lot of numbers and like some of this stuff is private. But to me, that's really important to make sure that they're selling and actually get some info like that from them so they can tell me how much maybe a lead is worth or a follower to them. Um,
Hmm.
that's just really important to me because generally the people who have no idea, they don't have any of those numbers. They don't have data. And I guess the last thing that's a big red flag to me usually is when it's a personal brand, I'm always I'm very attentive to what they're doing. Do they have a business on the side that generates them a good income? Are
Yeah.
they having a monetization strategy? You know, like with an OnlyFans link, I know that sounds silly, but it's probably one of the easiest monetization strategies. You just put the link there, you put an arrow down,
Mm.
boom. A lot of times these influencers, they just don't have one. And if they're paying you like $500 to $2,500 a month, uh, chances are they may be on for 1 month, you know, like maybe two
Yeah.
months, but they're not actually making money back from that, then they're just not going to be a good fit for a recurring client long term.
Yeah, that's exactly the same process I use. Making sure they have a solid monetization process, or they have a lot of money and they can fund it. Because I've been in situations in the past too where I took on clients that everything seemed good. I was like, okay, cool, this person's ready to pay, but I didn't do any background checks in terms of how they're monetizing the page. And after a month, they would just cancel because they were kind of hoping for the best, that you would take them to a certain level and then they'll get on these brand deals and the money will cover itself. But life doesn't always work out like that.
It's like growing a page, like a viral page, and expecting you're just going to make a full-time income and shout outs. It just doesn't happen. Like, even if you go viral every day, you know, like, so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the most important things. What about you? Are there any other red flags that you usually see when it comes to like a client reaching out?
Yeah. If it's about Instagram growth, a huge red flag is they're losing like thousands of followers per day.
Or
if
what,
they
like 10K followers, but like 26 likes on every post. But
like if I look at the analytics, it's like up 1,000, down 2,000, up 1,000, down 2,000. I'm like, no, I'm not taking this on, because a lot of times, let's say you're doing ads for that person, you're running story ads and you're crushing it, and you're getting like 200 followers a day or 300 followers a day, which is really hard to get, right? Well, it depends on the budget. If they are losing 1,000 followers per day, they're not even going to see that. So it's like there's no point really, and you're fighting against like negative friction. So if I'm going to take on a client like that, they need to know exactly what's going on, and they have to be willing to pay more money to counteract whatever's going on, whatever damage they've done to their page. I'd rather start off from a neutral base, someone who is gaining a couple followers a day or maybe losing a little bit, and build that up, as opposed to try fix a dead, dying page. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. Um, Makes me think of a specific shout out client that I took on one time, and they were bleeding like pretty bad, man. Like, but I asked the service provider, and he was like, "It's no issue, man. We just can't guarantee the drop after you hit that mark." Um,
Mm,
but yeah, it's hard to it's hard to like make a client happy in game when they're just losing so many followers, man.
yeah. Do you find that people have, I guess, somewhat unrealistic expectations in terms of Instagram growth now after the June update last year, or is it around the same? Because I'm finding people are still expecting the same type of growth for the same type of money, but the rules are always changing. The game is completely different now.
That's a hard one to answer. In my personal experience, man, I've been getting like more clients and leads reaching out just because there's a bunch of these beginner marketers who just weeded out because they just throw accounts on like the follow and follow method,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and get you 50 to 150 followers a day. Uh, so I really like that, but it does make it harder
Mm,
for beginners to get into the game. I actually talked with Murphy, who's a friend of mine. He owns a pretty successful agency, and he likes to tell his clients that Instagram growth really just isn't static. It's not static. Like, you're not going to get 50 followers every day. Like, you may get 7 followers this day, and then the next day you get 34, you know? And they should be looking at it more so on a monthly status. And that's just the truth. Like, you can't give them a linear expectation, because if you're doing like a story viewing tool, for instance, it's just going to vary depending on how many people that day post polls or the question boxes, or, you know what I mean? There's so many different factors that can come into account.
Yeah.
Like, even with like a store and sales and you run ads for them, some days you might get like 5 sales just on a $5 ad set, and another day you get 0. You know, it's just,
Yeah.
constant. So I really think just educating people about that is like the best way to go around it. Because usually you get problems when you don't properly educate people on the process. You know what I mean? Because they don't know what to expect. Like, if you say, hey, you could get an action block, and then they get an action block, they're a lot more less worried when that happens. They're not like, is my account going to get banned? Cancel the service. Like, you know, like.
I think setting proper expectations is definitely key. Kind of outlining exactly what you're doing and covering your ass, which is something I didn't do at the beginning. I think a lot of people skip that step at the beginning. You just kind of like
managing social media. That's the
you don't really worry about a lot of these things happening, and like your Facebook ads account getting deactivated, or a lot of this stuff that can happen, or the Instagram account getting shadow banned. There's so many things that can happen that can throw you off, and you need to kind of set the expectations at the beginning and outline exactly what you need to do. So when push comes to shove, you have covered your ass. I think that's important. Do you use any service agreements or contracts or anything like that?
Man, so when it comes to me, I have in the past. Specifically, I can think of a few instances when I've done it with some startup companies, as well as one other person who hired me to grow like this personal brand page. But generally, no, man, I don't. I just like to do everything through PayPal or a PayPal invoice. Sometimes I'll have like a ClickFunnels landing page that I set up really quick, just to like send people into a message in a DM. But I don't. You can, absolutely can, but I think it also just makes it more high pressure too. It depends on if it's like a actual like company and organization where they worry about things like like information being leaked. So like you may have to sign like an NDA, like a non-disclosure agreement. So I don't really like to use any of that stuff. What about you, Isaac?
I've used contracts in the past, but that's mainly when dealing with companies like supplement companies, different locations, etc. But when I'm dealing with like the average client, like the average influencer or the average person who wants to grow their business, I just send a service agreement. But the way I kind of, I guess, phrase it makes them comfortable with the idea. I just basically tell them that this is something to keep you and I both safe. It outlines my work exactly, so you can read through it. And if something's up, if there's something you don't understand, we can get back and adjust it so that we both know what's happening and we're on the same page. So it just makes them feel a bit more secure. I feel like it adds a layer of professionalism as well. People are like, okay, this guy's got the service agreement. He is not going to take my money and run away. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think how you present it is the most important part too. It just also depends, I think, on like just how high ticket of a lead it is, because I do think that your conversion rate is lower if you have to have somebody actually like fill out the service agreement and then you say like, oh, I want to change this, as opposed to like you just sending them a PayPal link, and then they just purchase.
That's true. I've had lots of clients just stop as soon as I send the service agreement. They say, well, it's a good way to filter out sketchy clients. Though. Like, I had this one guy, he was like selling shoes, like these like designer shoes or something like that, right?
The knockoffs.
I think they were knockoffs. I thought something was up. I sent the agreement and he's like, can I just send this money direct to your bank account? And I was like, no. I was like, sign the agreement. He just fell off. He's like, nah. Because he was like into more sketchy type stuff. But in Australia, it's kind of important for me to have legitimate clients, because when it comes to tax times, you kind of have to explain where your income came from. So I can't be telling people I was helping some black hatter or something like that. It looks a bit sketchy.
Yeah. It just depends. I don't know. Everything I have is done through PayPal pretty much, and Stripe, and like they report everything. up to like if you hit a certain amount of transactions, and PayPal's 20K. So it's pretty easy to hit
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. PayPal is good. PayPal was good. I got the PayPal business as well. I've got Stripe for more, I guess, templated things like courses and stuff like that, but not so much the agency stuff.
Yeah, I've used Stripe. It just depends. I like PayPal a lot better though. And people feel a lot more comfortable with PayPal because of their, their buyer guarantee and all that. You could open a claim. So I tend to use it because people love it. So man, we haven't really talked that much about like, you talked about red flags with clients. Can you just talk about what are some of the best ways that you personally found clients for Instagram growth?
Well, it's actually kind of funny because that's the number one question that everybody's always asking. It's like, how do you get clients? How do you get clients? How do you find clients? I honestly think the best clients that you're ever going to get are clients that find you, not the clients that you find. Because when people come to you, you're in a position of power, as opposed to when you are pitching someone automatically, despite how good your pitch is, it's almost like you're lower than them. There's always like a status exchange in every transaction, and you're lower than them because you're coming to them asking for something. And the way I was able to get people to come to me is through building personal brands, focusing more on being a content producer, whether that's on YouTube, whether that's a blog and SEO or a Facebook group. But you automatically position yourself as the authority, and that's a way better position. And I think that's exactly what you've done as well. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The leverage thing is really important when they reach out to you first rather than you reaching out to them, because they're just so much easier to close, and you can just close them on such a higher actual like retainer or a service agreement or whatever, because they've like already done the searching, and they're like, I think this is my guy. So like they pick you as opposed to you picking them. I guess you could say like when a girl goes up to you and shows interest in you, it's way easier, to like get her number or like do whatever you want.
You can play cool and just lean back and
Yeah, what's up?
yeah, that's right. But to get to that position, you obviously have to start showing your skill set, being a professional in terms of creating content. And I feel like a lot of people are afraid to do that. A lot of people are expecting to get these clients. They like download the course, the course tells them, yo, you should charge $1,500 per client. Go out there and they just cold pitch people. You have to put yourself in the position of that business owner. Why should they work with you? Who are you? Like, why are you DMing them? You claim to know social media. You claim to know Instagram marketing, but yet you're sending them a DM. You know what I mean? Like you're sending them a DM and your profile's got like 1,000 followers. You're following 3,000 people. You got random pictures of spaghetti on your timeline. Like it just doesn't work out. So I feel like a lot of people are almost entitled in a way in the approach that they take. They think that they should just be getting clients because they're pitching the clients. There's a lot to the game. If you are going to pitch people, if you're going to do the cold outreach thing, which does work still, you need to make sure that you present yourself as a professional, as in your highlights should all be aligned. You should be talking about Instagram growth. Your profile should have stuff that's related to Instagram growth. You should look like someone who knows about Instagram growth, not some random guy hitting them up, because they get thousands of those people every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think your Instagram page can be one of the best ways to get clients. Because I know a lot of guys who are really successful and they literally do no other social media platforms except for Instagram. But I do think that it took a lot of time for them to build up those accounts, because generally they're 20 to 40K and they just post stories to drive offers, and they really just use like an automation tool to get traffic. And their actual page isn't really like a traffic producer. You know what I mean? It's more of like just a landing page with some higher quality content. They have like their highlights there. They usually almost always link to their actual agency in their bio. And then a lot of it is just like getting traffic, whether that's from an automation tool or you could even do it running ads, and then just posting your story and pushing out content on there to show people like you can actually, get them results, because that's really what they want to see. And then waiting for them to message you, you know what I mean? Or that's the important part.
Yeah, you could definitely kill it with Instagram. You just need to make sure everything's on point, like what you said. Create like a traffic funnel in your profile that goes to a landing page or an opt-in form. It needs to be non-needy. It doesn't need to look like you're desperate for clients. And then the next thing you can do is actually reach out to people. But the difference is you're reaching out to them. You're not pitching them. a lot of people send those copy paste messages like, yo, I've got this Instagram growth agency. I get clients 3 times. No one cares about that. We've seen it all before. Everyone knows what copy paste looks like. Everybody knows what spam message looks like. They're not gonna bother with you. But if you just start like a dialogue, if you strategically choose the right clients for you, follow them, message them, maybe like a couple of their pictures, just start conversation, and then pitch after you build some rapport, your success rate is going to be way higher. Because if you pitch from the onset, you look desperate, and desperation in business is the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. A lot of it is about just like finding that right person and then creating an opportunity. And generally, they don't want to be pitched or sold. So like, and it's really important that you be genuine. Like, don't just say something like, "Hey, I'm interested in getting a shout out" or something, and then get them to respond that way, you know. And then
Yeah.
like try and pitch them with your offer later. That's not the way to go about it, in my opinion. It's better to like actually,
Yeah.
you know, like build some rapport, like maybe tell a joke. Um, I don't know, or give them a tip. Like I did a cold outreach the other day, man. This
Mm-hmm.
guy, and I haven't actually reached back out to him, but he was hitting me with a bunch of affiliate marketing ads. So I knew he was already qualified because I kept seeing this guy in my feed, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, he must be spending a good amount of money. And he's a ClickFunnels super affiliate or whatever, where he won
Oh
the
yeah.
dream car.
Definitely.
So I
Yeah.
sent him a DM and I was like, hey man, you're driving traffic to this Facebook group, but you're not actually using a deep link. And
Yeah.
that, he was like
Nice.
really impressed. And then we had like a conversation. He said, hey man, I might need somebody for Instagram growth. Like I really want to step it up.
There you go.
Boom.
There you go.
Potential client, you know?
That's a small way of doing it.
Yeah.
That's a smart way of doing it. Presenting value up front, or like a helpful tip. And I'm not talking about, hey, you don't have a pixel on your website. No one cares about that. I've seen that a million times. But actually giving them something that they probably haven't heard of. Like, for example, you mentioned the deep link. Not too many people know about deep links, actually. But it's a game changer in terms of conversions. So the fact that you gave them that one pointer, and that could 2 times his sales, possibly, you instantly become a person of value to him. Like, damn, this guy gave me this tip. Like, it changed the game for me. Let me check out his profile. And when they check out the profile, that's when you let your profile do the selling for you. Like, your profile is really good because you got like testimonials, you got people vouching for you, like other Instagram agency owners or other Instagram consultants saying, yo, this guy's the shit. You've got like results, you've got like everything going. So as soon as they see that, they're more likely to work with you as opposed to some other random that just DM them some copy paste message about how they're going to 10 times their ROA or some shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And like thinking your profile like an actual landing page or like a sales page is a big game changer because it's what you put out to people. And if you want them to do one thing, like click that link in your bio, like everything needs to be prepped to get that to happen, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so real quick, man, what are some of the best ways that you've personally found clients? I can't agree with you more about like the content producer. Do most of your clients come from YouTube? Do they come from Google? Because I know you do have a YouTube channel, you have a blog, and then you also have a Facebook group. Like, what has just been the most successful for you?
The highest quality clients I've been getting have been coming from Google, have been coming from my blog. Because there's something about Google, I don't know what it is. When people see you ranked like number one for a particular term, or you have this killer article that just it goes in depth, that's just as valuable as like maybe a small ebook, you become an authority in their eyes straight away. So I usually get like dental clients from Google. I get like I got Amazon FBA guy from Google. I got like the guys with like money come through Google. The people that hit me up by a DM usually don't have that much money. They're not as qualified. so, so I wouldn't say Instagram has got me too many clients, but I've also had a decent amount of clients come through the YouTube channel, especially with some videos like where I talk about automation or I talk about algorithm updates. You'd be surprised who watches the video and then they go into your funnel and then they fill out the application through Google. So I think it's definitely important to have like a streamlined process where it's easy for people to get in contact with you and fill in the application. Because sometimes people make all these hurdles and they can't, really collect leads efficiently. So you definitely need to streamline that process.
Yeah, absolutely. And like then you can always plug them into like an email list and potentially sell them later too. Because that
Yeah.
person may not have been a good high ticket client, but you never know if you don't have a service in the future that's more low ticket for them. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. How about you?
man, so if I had to pick any of them, I'd probably say Facebook has been the biggest one for me, mainly just because of Facebook groups. When it comes to Instagram, I do close a lot of clients on Instagram, however. And generally, though, they've come either from YouTube or Facebook, and then they've checked out my Instagram. So they're not necessarily directly coming from Instagram. But and I like it because when they come in, it doesn't matter whether they come from Facebook, YouTube, or we have people even come from Instagram into like the Facebook group, because I try to funnel the Facebook group as like my list, so to speak. And it just helps to have more than one platform too, because you can push them from like your Facebook group where you potentially answered a question for them to like their YouTube channel where they watch a few more videos and they consider you that authority. And then a lot of the time they actually DM me on Instagram to, try and make a sale happen. So I think Instagram is one of the best places to actually facilitate that sale. But I do, in my opinion, the highest ticket clients I've had have actually reached out via email.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. Like they'll find my email somewhere and then they'll email me. I think businesses are just, and they always have, like their own domain.com. It's never like at gmail.com. And they're always, but Facebook.
I think they come from YouTube then.
Sometimes. I also have the email button on my Instagram as well as, I don't know. I try to push everybody between everything, because if they watch YouTube, but then they're also active in my Facebook group, they're a lot more likely to actually convert into a client. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're closing clients, do you close them via DM, or do you get some of them onto sales calls and kind of go face to face and break it down like that?
Depends, man. So like for some services, I don't really do sales calls on, but I really try to get them on a call. That's the most important aspect. And I just do like a 5 to 10 minute call. I just make it super low pressure, because for me, that just helps the most. I can better educate them, answer any specific questions they have. And I think they just like that actual personal connection, being able to speak with you if something happens. What's your opinion on that? Do you funnel them to a call? Do you funnel them to the type form, email list?
It depends how, well, I collect a lot of my leads through Typeform. So a lot of people come through the website and they fill out the application, and I can kind of funnel out people straight away because I have specific questions that, I guess, filter people. So depending on how detailed someone's answers are, depending on a lot of things, I can make a judgment of, should I reach out to this person or just send them an email saying, no thanks, or maybe just keep in the back burner for the future. Depending on how serious it is, I might get in a call with them. I have noticed that getting into calls with people does increase the conversion significantly, because I feel like people feel a lot more comfortable when you get in a call, especially if they don't really know you, if they looked at your stuff and they're ready to do business with you. If you get on a call with them, you can kind of make them feel a bit easier. If someone does know you, like they're coming from a YouTube channel or they've coming from the Facebook group, you don't necessarily have to get in the call with them, because you've kind of already built yourself up. If that makes any sense. Or better yet, if they're coming from a referral, you definitely don't even need to get in the call. You just take the paycheck.
It's easy.
Like I've actually had some clients come from you, man. Like someone will hit me up like, oh yeah, Chris just sent me this way. He said, you know your shit. I'm like, yeah.
It's always the
easiest closes.
Yeah.
Easy closes.
So what are some of the things you look for in the type form, specifically when you filter clients?
Okay, well, the first thing I look at is how specific they are in answering their questions. If someone's a joker, they're not going to be specific. They're going to say, want to grow followers, start this month. It's going to be like really short answers. And that tells you volumes about someone. If they're not even going to invest in detailing what they want, they probably don't know what they want. So I tend to ignore those. But if someone's detailed and they explain their brand, they explain what they're doing, their marketing, they explain their budget, they answer the questions fully and every question, then that tells me that they're a serious candidate and someone worth reaching out to. It also depends on niche too, because you can't help all niches. I try not to expand myself too far, in the sense that, Instagram is a very complex thing. Sure, you can know the basics about growing on Instagram, whether it's hashtags or DM groups or Facebook ads, but each niche has its own separate strategies that need to be employed, or types of content that work well. So if you're trying to grow every single freaking niche there is, you're never going to get really good at one thing. So it's better to kind of stay in a range and focus on a couple of different services, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, man, if they're actually fulfilling the service themselves, I think it's vital that they practice that one service and get really good at it before they incorporate another service. But if they're
Yeah.
usually just somebody who's outsourcing, I do think it's probably better to have like a lower ticket offer, a mid-tier offer, and then a higher ticket offer. And it's important that you've tried out those services, like whether it was with your money or if like you went to an actual client and you said, hey, this is a service I haven't tried, but I can do it at cost for you, and we can test it out.
Yeah.
And don't make any money off of it, just do it for the opportunity to test, and then evaluate the results to see if it is something you want to sell. Because
Yeah. That's a good thing to talk about, actually. What do you look for when you're outsourcing some things? Because obviously, when you have an agency or when you're doing consulting, you can't take on every client. Some clients are better fits for other agencies or other freelancers that might do a particularly good job. Do you test it out yourself with that freelancer, or is there a certain checklist that you need to look at before you hire them or outsource to them?
Yes. So generally, man, I test the service. Like I test the service. That's super important. And I have been in instances where I sold a service I didn't test like a long time ago. And that usually never works out good, man. You usually have to refund the client, and then you also have to, do the work yourself too, and pay that person, or it's just kind of a mess. So I really think testing the service is the most important part, and testing it on your account or somebody else's account, it really doesn't matter as long as you can get and evaluate the results. And I think that's really important too, because when I sell services now, I'll send people actual like past results so they can get a better idea of the service and just be more educated about it. So like, for instance, I'm selling a giveaway and I'm like, hey, here's 5 to 6 people that we recently did a giveaway on. And this is so you could see the drop if they asked about the drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never guarantee them anything, but that's an instance where it helps to actually show them past like results. And I just really think the most important part though is testing it, man, whether it's on your account or a client's account. And if it isn't, then I think the best thing to do is just be completely honest with them. Because I can understand like if you wouldn't want to spend $5,000 on your own account to test a service, you know what I mean? But you may have a client who would be a good fit for it. And if you told them that up front, they may be open to do it if you're not making any money,
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you 100% about testing the service and making sure it's legit first, like doing all the tests you need to do. Another thing I like to look into is, I guess, the integrity of the seller, the integrity of the freelancer, and how professional they are. Because it's sad to say, but in this Instagram game, I find that there's a lot of people that are service providers that are not that professional. I've had people that have paid in the past where they were meant to do something one particular day, and they just wouldn't do it for like 3 weeks. Keep coming up with excuses to the point where I'm like, I can't run a business like this, because it reflects on you as a business owner. If you are not delivering, you can't tell your client, oh, this guy said he was going to do it and it's not ready. You know what I mean? Like it's just bad. So if someone shows any, so if anyone shows any sort of like lack of professionalism in terms of deadlines and stuff like that, I can't hire them. I can't work with them. And it's hard to find good people, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I do have to say this. It's important that you regularly test people too, because I've had instances where somebody's really good for a long time and something happens and it just becomes a headache. So that's really it's something you gotta like watch out for too, man. But I do think outsourcing is one of the best ways to actually get started too, if you don't really have a skill, but you do need to know how to sell, or at least be willing to try and sell. Because I used to do a lot of services myself, man. And it was cool. I learned a lot, but it was also a headache too, to have to fulfill for a bunch of different clients. And it's easier to just be able to send somebody some money through PayPal and then just pocket your cut in the middle and not have to worry about it, and just check up on them and send them a message every now and then.
Yeah. When do you think that is the right point to start outsourcing, or when do you think you should stop doing things yourself and perhaps look into hiring freelancers or team members or whatever?
I honestly think from the beginning is one of the best places to start outsourcing. But if you do sell a service, and that has actually changed from a lot of my opinions in the past, but if you do sell a service and you want to actually provide for that service, like let's say you were a person doing follow and follow in a bot, like tons of people were doing that. It's important that you practice it, and get good at it. So I think if you're going to actually learn how to do something, focus on one service. But if you can have a couple other services too, and you've tested them and they look good, and you're happy with the results, then by all means, like incorporate them, because they could be just an upsell to like the clients you have, and you could literally make like 30% more money. So
I agree with you, man.
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree with you. I kind of take the Sam Ovens approach, where he says like, to be a good entrepreneur, you kind of need to be good at everything, in the sense that you don't have to be an expert at everything. You have to be an expert at Facebook ads or Instagram per se, but you kind of need to know what good Instagram growth is and what bad Instagram growth is, what good Facebook ads look like and what bad Facebook ads look like, what good SEO is. Because if you know the general gist of like, this is good or this is bad, you're more effective at hiring people or knowing when someone's doing a good job. Because if you just start from the onset and you have no idea like how to run Facebook ads, and you hire someone to run your Facebook ads for you, it's going to be tough for you to know if they're doing a good job or not. And you can just be losing money like crazy. So I definitely try to get my feet wet in a lot of areas. Like for the past couple of months, I've been getting my feet wet in SEO. Not because I want to do SEO. Like, no, that's taking on too much. But just in case I want to expand my agency in the future, and hire people to do SEO, I want to be able to know that these people are doing a good job, that the backlinks are good, that the on-page SEO is good, all these other components. So I feel like it's very important to at least have a good, firm understanding in what you're doing before you start outsourcing.
Yeah, no, I can't agree with that more, man. Because if it's something you don't understand, then you can't explain to the client, or like, then you have a real problem, So you really need to understand it. And if it's something that you really don't want to do, it is better that you try to do it yourself. That's the truth. Because I've sold services where it's like, I'm thinking of a specific service where it's like, I just would never want to have to do that myself. You know what I mean? Like, I've done it once or twice, but I would never want to have to do it again. And it's way easier for me to pay somebody else who can do it for cheaper than it would honestly cost me time-wise. And I could just make the money in the middle. But I think if you're really a beginner, I think outsourcing, like getting started like now and trying to find people to outsource is the best time. But it does depend on what you're doing, man. You know what I mean? Because if you just hire some Facebook ads guy on Upwork.com and he has no idea how to get Instagram followers, and your client wants followers, probably not going to work out. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely true. So what would you say, going back to the sales calls here, because I explained about my filtration process and getting leads. What is your process when you're in a sales call? Do you have specific questions that you like asking people to get some information out of them, or?
Yeah, I do. And actually, what I usually do, the first thing I say is like, "Hey, can you hear me okay?" And then I ask them how they are. And that's just because sometimes like you've had awkward instances where, I don't know, I usually call people through Facebook or like through, any type of like, whether it's Zoom, Skype, sometimes like stuff can just really like buggy. The second question I usually ask them is like, can you tell me a little bit about your Instagram page, just your history and what you've done in the past? And they'll usually tell me about specific things they've tried, maybe some other businesses they've worked with, also what works or didn't work for them. That's like a really important thing I look for. Because if something worked well from the past, maybe we just got to get them back on that again, So that's something I look at. Then I generally ask them, what is your goal? That's like super important. I try to evaluate, is their goal followers? Is their goal to get link clicks? Or like maybe if that's like a Shopify store, you know what I mean? Like they want more visitors to the store. Then I'll ask them questions about like where they're currently at. And that's more so like those revenue numbers, like any type of information they're willing to get me. But I try not to be pushy about it, because I understand that people don't want me to, like dissect their business and like go in there and see everything. I'm just some random dude that they hopped on a call with. But in the past, when I used to do consultation calls for clients, I used to actually charge $200 per consultation call. And that was a way that I never had any issues when I asked them about those numbers like that. You know what I mean? Because they're paying you to speak with you for 1 hour. So that is something I try to get out of the most, any type of like data or information you can already. What their budget would be is a really important one too. So I try to get their budget ASAP, because I can't sell like somebody who has a $500 budget on a $3,000 service. It's just, it's never going to work, Aside from that, I usually just like, I hear them out. I really try to listen, and I always tell myself to say as little as possible. And Yeah, then I just pick the service that I think would actually be best for them based on what their goal is and their budget. And if I just think it's not a good fit, like maybe, it's just they don't have a big enough budget for that, or if I just really can't help, I just say no. And I may even have somebody else to recommend them if they just charge less money, or if it's just something that I really am not interested in taking on, like, and somebody else has a skill set that I may not have.
That's very smart. Yeah, I think that's very similar to my process. I'd like to start off with a question. I got this from Jason Horning, who's like a really good Facebook ads guy. It's like the Dan Sullivan question. It's basically asking them, it's like, if everything was to work perfectly and we were to work together for 12 months, what results do you need to have for this to be a success? And then people explain exactly what they want. And then from that answer, you can kind of dissect exactly what they need or what's important to them. Because a lot of times people say they want more followers, but that's not really the reason they're coming to you. They say they want more followers, but the actual reason might be they want brand deals, right? And maybe they don't need more followers for brand deals. Maybe they just need to fix up their page and make it look more professional. Some people say they want more followers, but in actuality, they want more leads, or they want more sales. So it's better to find the root, because if you can solve the root cause, you get rid of a lot of problems in your life. Because sometimes clients, I'm sure you've seen this before, will tell you they want one thing and you do that thing and they're not happy. They're like, no, this is not what I wanted. Be like, this is what you said. That's the surface level. So I like to dig deeper and deeper and deeper and get to the core of it. And usually some sort of monetary or some sort of goal like that.
It's almost always, I think if you go really, really deep, it's almost always monetary at some point. But the question is whether they can actually monetize that page or not with your service. But that's a really good question, man. I actually haven't heard of that one. That's an awesome question to get them to like paint the picture and open up about what they really want. Because usually a red flag to me is when they say like, oh, I want more followers and traffic. Like, it's like, hey, you can't have both. Like, okay, like, I mean, it's like, I want it, like I want chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, like you just can't have it all. And I think it's really important to focus on one specific goal for them that you can then show them at the end of the month, send them a screenshot from IG Blade or something where, look, you wanted this, you wanted more followers, like you're getting followers now. So yeah, that's a really good question, man. Real quick.
Look at the questions that people want to ask.
Where's the restroom at? Tony D-Tran, bro.
I've got some questions too, actually.
Yeah, dude, hit me if you have any questions. I'm happy.
Someone in my group asked, he said, what do you offer / promise clients when selling your services to them? Example, we offer X for Y price. Do you have like kind of like, I guess he's asking him, do you have like a templated type proposal?
So man, it depends on the specific service. Like I do sell shout out campaigns and those are like guaranteed followers. Giveaways, the same type of thing, guaranteed. It's like they pay X, they're going to get Z. I just try to educate them as much about the process, how long it'll take, what they can expect and all that good stuff. If it's something for like followers for ads, it's just hard to give them a specific number. And I usually give them some estimates based on like other people, but if they are targeting, a English speaking people in Norwegia or something, I just don't know, man. Like, and like, or if you're targeting a specific city and you're comparing it to, some other city that you ran at like an ad campaign on in like Ohio, and it's like an actual big city, like chances are the costs are going to be dramatically higher. So if it's a service like that, I really just tell them, hey, this is how much I'm getting. This is how much is going to be going towards ad creatives, and this is how much that's going to be going towards the actual Facebook ads budget. If they ever have a question, like I can send them a receipt, but I've never even had somebody request a receipt or anything like that from me. But I think it's really just educating them, telling them what they can expect, not promising a specific thing, but saying like, hey, we will increase traffic, because if they weren't running a budget before, they're definitely going to be getting more traffic,
Yeah. I just know similar. I think I covered my ass in the service agreement, especially with like Facebook ads and stuff like that. You can't really guarantee results, like what you said, because there's so many variables at play. You don't really know how much the ad is going to cost. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how well their profile converts. There's a lot of things that are not really in your power. But what I do guarantee in the service agreement, let's say I'm trying to grow someone's account, Facebook ads, is I say we're going to try to get to this particular cost per click, right? We're going to target this range of people. and we're gonna constantly improve the ads to try get the best results for you. That's basically it. So it's like we're just gonna keep working on it to get you the best results, but we're not guaranteeing anything because you can't really guarantee anything. You can show them past results and stuff like that, but people have to be comfortable knowing that that's the case, because that is the case, as opposed to you saying, yeah, man, we're going to get you like 20,000 followers. Like I can tell them we might be able to get you 20,000 profile views, but I'm not sure how many followers you're going to get from that. Maybe 20%, 8% of them are going to convert, maybe higher. It depends on your profile. It needs to be, a lot of these services are not really done for you. It's done with you services, because the person needs to be working on their profile as well. And that's something that I find a bit frustrating. A lot of people don't, I guess, work on their profile. They kind of expect you to just do everything, but it doesn't work that way, because you're dealing with the algorithm. Instagram is complicated. There's a lot of things that play, and if their content sucks, if they're not posting frequently, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the profile is so important, and people honestly neglect it a lot. I mean, because the traffic, if you want followers, like they come to that page and they will see your profile picture. They'll likely glance at your bio before they click that follow button, even if they're coming from an ad. And like so many people can fall off right there. Like I remember this one specific person, and they were getting a ton of traffic, but none of their people were converting. And that woman was unwilling to actually make changes to her profile, you know? And at that point, it's just like, I can't really help you here, because they're coming to your page, you know? Like they're just like
I'm doing my part. That's what I think it should be, though. When you're doing Facebook ads for followers, you can't guarantee followers. All you can guarantee is you're going to bring people to the page. You're going to increase profile.
Sorry. Okay? Yeah, just keep one down the wrong pipe.
It's all good. You're going to target this particular type of people, and you're going to send them to their profile. That's it. You can't really do more than that.
You can't guarantee. And if they're guaranteeing something, it's probably fishy, because I've actually like worked with past clients where they had a big agency that were paying like $1,000 to $4,000 a month. And they said they were doing Instagram ads for their profile, but every single, like 2 times a week, they got this one drip fed order that I could tell was drip fed, you know, yeah. And that was in their Instagram management, and like they weren't running any ads. And yeah, like that's just really horrible, man. But the profile is like super important, and you just can't really guarantee followers for anybody. So do you actually tell them, your specific clients, that they will need to make edits to their profile, or how do you actually tackle that?
Yeah, I told them. I say in the service agreement for the ads, I told them we can't guarantee any followers. We guarantee that we're going to send people to your profile, definitely, because you got to be pretty bad at Facebook has not to be able to send anyone there.
You spend money, it doesn't click. Like
no one clicks.
So I'm charge per click, you know, like
CPC $2,000. No, that's a guarantee profile visits, guarantee proper targeting. We're just going to target like random people. But when it comes to people following, we can't guarantee. We can give them rough estimate based on prior clients and the type of results they've had. And we mentioned that, yeah, for this to work properly, they need to be posting and look like someone that people would want to follow. Because it's kind of like you're the marketing guy, right? And you're bringing 2,000 people to this guy's hot dog stand, and he's there and he doesn't have any hot dogs to sell. It's like everyone's just gonna be like, what the hell is this shit? Everyone's gonna go to McDonald's next door or something. You've done your job. You brought the 2,000 people. He's not selling the hot dogs. So it needs to be both people with Facebook ads.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, like, that guy with no hot dogs, like, he won't keep paying you for sending people to buy hot dogs, you know, like, and that's why I think, honestly, influencers really aren't a good client for actual beginners in general, because unless it's a really low ticket service, that most people can afford, like month to month.
Yeah. That's actually a really good thing for us to dive in. That's probably gonna give a lot of people a lot of value. What do you think? Okay, let's say you're a complete beginner, and you've had no clients in the past. You don't really know what the hell you're doing. You know how to grow on Instagram. Maybe you have a few pages for yourself. What would you do to get yourself to, let's say, 10K a month within a year?
Okay, so probably the easiest services to resell would be automation. I just hate this service in general because of how unreliable it is, though. So that is something to look out for. But I do think if you don't really have a ton of skills, like, and you're getting started, automation and like giveaways are the easiest by far. As well as shout outs. You can find like qualified leads for them. you can resell and people will guarantee followers, like, and they're real people, you know, and sometimes people, they'll even guarantee targeted followers too. Um,
Yeah.
so that is something to keep in mind, that those services I think are way easier to sell. I do think Facebook ads is a lot more difficult to sell, just
Mhm.
because it involves a budget. It's usually a higher ticket service. Ad creatives need to be made. And if you're not doing that yourself, it can generally cost like a lot of money. Like even just making ad creatives can cost like a good amount of money. I think like some of the cheapest guys on Fiverr charge like $45 an ad. Those are like the cheap ones, you know? So I
Mm.
really think focusing on giveaways is like an amazing service for beginners, because they can guarantee growth. I do know other guys who do really well, like just selling engagement, whether
Yeah.
they, you know, lie about that or not. That's not, I don't know. It's not something people generally talk that much about, you know. Um, but selling things that are really easy to, is like to sell engagement, to sell like an automation service. And a lot of people are willing to pay for just like more of those low ticket services, and they'll stay on. I think that's probably the easiest way to get up to 10K a month, but you do have to worry about, you know, stuff happening. But I mean, if you can just sell one higher ticket service, man, like you can easily get to 10K like really easily, and you only need a handful of
Mm.
clients. It's just, I think it's going to take a lot more time, especially if you're a beginner and you don't know how to sell, because it's way easier to sell somebody on like a service for like $100 to $500 than it is to sell them on a $3,000 service.
Yeah.
Uh, but high ticket all the way is the best way to go about it, man. It's just a lot more difficult, I think, for beginners. What's your opinion on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I like what you said, but I'll take a bit of a different approach in terms of if I was a beginner and I had like 1 year to get to that point. The first thing I would do is I would actually find a niche that I want to work with and just focus on that niche. So ideally, it would be some kind of service provider niche, maybe chiropractors, maybe day spas, maybe wedding photographers or wedding planners. I'll pick some random niche where I know that the people within that niche have money, have extra $2,000, $3,000 to spend on their marketing, real estate agents, that type of thing. Then what
But
I'll
real
do is
quick,
I'll
real
build
estate
a
agents are double sided, because there's like the super rich ones and there's also like the super broke ones. So that is something
the super cheap ones.
so like whenever somebody says a real estate agent, like either it's good or it's bad. Like
Either really good or really bad. Yeah, but I'll pick a niche that has, that they have a marketing budget and it's kind of normal. And what I'll do, I'll be a bit strategic about it. I'll grow a viral page or like a niche page within that niche, and then use that as leverage to get clients in that niche. Because the thing is, let's say you're a freaking wedding photographer or something like that, right? And someone has a wedding page with like 50K followers. You're more likely going to go to that person because you're like, damn, how'd you grow your page? You don't have the Instagram know-how to discern that this is a viral page and your page is like more of a personal page. So you can use that as, I guess, like a way in to show that you have a skill set or skin in the game. That's kind of what I did with my first client, because they were in the transformation niche, fat loss niche. They saw that I had this big page, 50K followers. So they're more inclined to listen to me. So I'll definitely do that. And then I'll just base my services all around that niche. So maybe do shout out campaigns with certain pages within that niche, do consultations, know what a good profile looks like, do Facebook ads for lead gen or engagement ads. People always think that to do well in Instagram marketing, you need to get someone 10,000 followers a month or 20,000 followers a month. That's not true. A lot of businesses have like 300 followers and they've been stuck at 300 followers for the past like 5 years. So if you can take them from 300 followers to maybe 2,000, they think that you're an Instagram god. They think that you're the shit. So if you become the go-to person, you've worked with a lot of people in that industry, I think it's very easy to scale up to 10K within
yeah,
that year.
I think the niching down thing is like, it makes it so much easier, and not just doing like Instagram growth, like actually doing a like sub niche, and being
Oh
really
yeah.
specific, and picking the right type of people to work with to have money. Because even though I do think the low ticket services are easiest for beginners to get started, man, like I think, remember before I even really had like an Instagram client, like I remember I resold like Fieldgram auto rounds for like $150, like, you know, the
Yeah.
$10 ones, and like that
Oh
person,
yeah.
yeah, and it was easy to sell that, you know, and make some extra cash. But if you want to actually get to like 10K, the selling high ticket services will just, one, make your life so much easier, and two, just it's just, you're going to make more money. And if you do niche yourself, like you said, man, like you can get a lot more those higher ticket clients without actually having to, work with a ton of other people. And the viral page, man, is pretty clever. I had never thought about that, but you're absolutely right. And they're usually pretty easy to grow, like
easy as shit. They don't have to know that, but it's your way in, it's your way in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about the mindset. I'm sure at some point, you said you started off charging 200 USD for your first client. How did you develop, I guess, the inner game per se to be able to charge more? At what point did you feel that you're comfortable charging more? Did you have to work on yourself, or did it just come from people hitting you up and saying you did good stuff, or what?
Man, to be completely honest with you, I took on a bunch of low ticket clients, and I did get some higher ticket ones, like between like $1,000 to like $2,000. And this was mostly just local. But when I started getting more higher ticket retainers, it was really when I had gotten like my first startup company as a client, and they had like, I think it was like $3 million in cash that they were like awarded by investors, and they were like ready to actually do stuff. And I remember in like a month of working with them, I managed like over 100 grand on Facebook ads and Google ads.
Yeah.
And like, to me, I was like, whoa, like, and that was really the point, in my opinion, where I started realizing that you could charge a lot more money for these services. And then I actually got a second startup not long after, and but that one big startup was like the breaking point for me, because I actually worked with like what in my mind was a big, like, legitimate company, even though they were just a startup. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's similar to you. When people trust you with like a bigger ad spend, and you start spending like 2K a week, 3K a week, and you're like, oh, okay. So like before that point, before you start seeing that kind of money being spent to advertisements, it's kind of hard to, I guess, be in that reality that people do have money, that people do have a certain income range. I feel like when you are starting out, because to you maybe 400 USD might be a lot of money, you start feeling a sense of guilt when you're asking for that much money, because you're thinking you're asking the world from someone. But the more you get into this digital marketing game, the more you educate yourself, the more you see what other people are doing. And you see that there are people that charge like $20,000 retainers per month for ads, 30,000 retainers. You start seeing that, okay, it's not so much like this is a goal that's unattainable. It's more about me building myself up to get to that point and getting the right skill sets and testimonials. You'd be surprised. A lot of these people that are making like a lot per month are not that much smarter than the average person. It's just that they've taken the right actions. So I feel like you just kind of need to have faith in yourself and just do it. What I tried doing at the beginning was each time I'll get a client, the next client, I'll charge 20% higher than the previous client and see how far I could go. And you'd be quite surprised like what you can do. Of course, stay in reason. Don't charge someone like $5,000 or something if what you're doing is worth $500. That's
or if they have like a $500 budget, like it's like
don't fake guru people, you know what I mean? Like, but if you're dealing with businesses, they tend to have a bigger marketing budget. They tend to, like for example, when I was dealing with dental practices, a lot of these dental practices were spending like $4,000 per month on freaking billboards. Like that's like the most useless form of marketing ever for dental practice. So if you can just get them to shift some of that money to your advertising or Instagram marketing, you can give them a way better return. So I guess just being educated on who you're dealing with and knowing what's normal in that industry kind of makes you a bit more comfortable with learning how to charge more yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think really I think dental practice is like an amazing niche. And a lot of the time they use those really gimmicky like marketing tactics. Like, have you ever seen like that stuff you get in the mail, like with the coupons and everything with like 100 other coupons? Like, people spend a lot of money on that kind of stuff. And I'm assuming it must work to some degree, because some marketing is better than no marketing, but a lot of these people could get way better returns just going digitally, whether it's any service, I think, because that's where people are. Like, they're on their phones now, man. It's crazy. I hate looking at the timer on my phone that tells me how many hours I spend.
Oh, it's your business, so it's all right. I think another thing, there's a lot of opportunities for people if they want to get started and start making more money in going for the non-conventional niches. For example, everyone goes for chiropractors and dentists. Everyone knows about those niches.
Plastic surgeons.
There's a whole bunch of there's like all those that everyone goes for. But if you start thinking outside the box, like go for a walk down your street and take a look at like the businesses around that the cars to drive past the service providers. That will give you a lot of ideas because there's a bunch of different service providers and big businesses that Instagram marketers are not even talking to. And if you can go into their world and just improve their game a little bit, which should be easy because most people don't know what the hell they're doing on Instagram, that could be a really profitable niche for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people should really try to find anybody who's high ticket and like go from there. I think honestly, like being an Instagram marketer for like a Shopify guru or like an Amazon FBA guy, like people who are making tons of money and then they want to get into like another business too, and niching yourself just in that regard, because there's like so many people like who are just kids and like they're making so much money with Shopify. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I was in LA and like one of my buddies was telling me about it, and it was just, it's like, whoa. And a lot of them, they want to start selling digital products, you know, like they do great with actual physical products. And I think that's a great niche, is just to find something that's unsaturated, but that does have like a really big budget, like, you know, the dentists, the plastic surgeons, like all those types of the doctors people love.
All right, let's talk about some tactics that people can use to find high ticket clients, because this is going to be really valuable for people watching. How would you approach, let's say you're trying to find a high ticket client, where would you start? Or if you didn't have the personal brand that you have now, where you know people come to you?
Okay, so it depends. I think the best way is really to start pushing out content, like regardless of where you're at. But if you were just a beginner and you're like, hey, I don't want to do any YouTube videos, I don't want to start my own Facebook group or make a blog, I would say probably like an easy way is like here, let me just like share my screen really quick. Like there's the ClickFunnels 7 Comma Club winners, you know? Let's see if that comes up. And I would just start by going to the website right here, and I would say, hey, why don't you just go DM every single one of these people? These are all qualified people who find them on Instagram. They've made $1 million on a funnel. ClickFunnels is verified. You know, they're legitimate business. They make money, and I would literally just start DMing them something like that. That's just what came to my mind when you asked me that. But I would do something like that. The whole point, though, is to find actual qualified people who would, you know, be able to afford a service, especially if it's a higher ticket service, and then find something they don't know, like the URL genius with the deep link, and, you know, and send them. Because if you just DM them trying to sell them on a service, like I guarantee these people aren't going to want. They're going to want more rapport. Absolutely. But there's like got to be at least 100 people on there. Like if you can get 1 to 3, you're just at your 10K a month if it's like an expensive service.
Easy peasy.
Well, not easy peasy,
I think I know.
But you know, sounds easy, but harder in practice.
You gotta have your sales skills.
What about you, man? What would you recommend we do?
There's a lot of good things that you can do, or good tactics. An easy one is find like high ticket events, like, you know, the 10X conference, and just go and see who's tagged and who's showing up. Because the tickets for that bitch are like $5K. Like,
yeah, that's a good one.
If someone's spending $5K to go to an event, they probably have money, you know. And the crazy thing is, like 200,000 people go to those events. So you got a lot of, or it's like 100,000. I know a lot of people. You got a lot of people that going to Grant Cardone's, the ClickFunnels thing as well. Yeah. You know how they have those events, the ClickFunnels events.
Funnel Hackers Live.
Funnel Hackers Live. See who's tagged there. See who's going there. You can. There's a whole bunch of masterminds as well. Like if you know, like Tony Robbins has masterminds. A lot of these gurus have masterminds. You can check out the mastermind groups and see who goes to those things. You can find a high ticket agency, like let's say a web design agency, and they usually have like their work, like the websites they develop, and you know they're high ticket because like when you're filling out a form, it'll be like the first time price for like budget 5,000 or 6,000 or something like that. So you know that everyone they've worked with has paid at least $5,000 for a website. Then you can go to those people and check out their Instagram. These people have the budget, but they haven't been working on their Instagram, so you can definitely try to pitch those people. What I do have to say is if you're trying to pitch some of these higher ticket clients, you can't approach it in the same way as you would, I guess, like normal people, like influencers or whatever. Because they're a business, they tend to respond a little bit better to email or LinkedIn. So I would approach it by giving something of value, like what you said, mentioning about the deep link, or maybe link them to an article. Like a tactic I like to use is I'll link people to an article I write. Super like easy, super, not pushy at all. They'll read the article and then fill out the application because they'll be so impressed with the actual content that's on there. So those are just some strategies I would use.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think though, for other people who are starting out, man, just as a beginner, I also think Craigslist is like a phenomenal resource because that's how I actually got started. Do you guys have like a Craigslist in New Zealand
Australia?
or Australia?
Yeah.
So close, man. So close.
So close, yeah. Now, yeah, we do have a Craigslist. We have Craigslist. We have a bunch of other little ones like that too that you could definitely do. There's so many opportunities, man. Honestly,
yeah,
so many opportunities. People just need to think outside the box. What I don't suggest you do is just spam people because it's not going to work.
I mean, it could work, but it's hard to spam nowadays, and you probably need to be doing it from like 100 accounts to even get like any result. So yeah. That's not easy as for a beginner, man. I think Craigslist is probably the easiest way because those people want responses, like you just search in a keyword and they want a response and you can just hit them up. And what I actually did, man, was, I don't know how it is in Australia, but if they work over like 28 hours a week, I think it's in California, they have to pay benefits for you. So like a lot of these people wanted full-time positions, and I would tell them that like, hey, would you be interested in like a 1099 independent contractor? And to them, that would be cheaper because they wouldn't generally have to pay benefits and I could get the same amount of work done. Some businesses were just like not open to it because they wanted an in-house person. But there was a lot of businesses who were like, what? I could save like $1,000, I could save $1,500 because the person doesn't actually make that money, like the business just has to spend it to its like healthcare fees, state taxes, and et cetera. And I got some good success there, like people between 500 to 1,500 a month clients, like a lot of them just local businesses. And it really helps if you can meet them, and then talk to them in person. So like, remember how we talked about the phone call, like how that's really helps build a lot of trust, makes you like a person. If you actually go and meet them, that is just like the best thing you can possibly do is schedule an actual meeting with them as opposed to just like a phone.
Yeah.
But
100%. Like networking events and actually meeting people is definitely powerful. Like most of these have what's called like a chambers of commerce. It's just like all these businesses that kind of gather up together and help out the community. You can join that and talk to the business owners there. And a lot of cities also have these groups where they have meetups of different people. I forgot what it's called, but it's like they have meetups and they have like the freaking plumber guy, and then they have like the dentist, and then they have the digital marketer. So if you're the digital marketer, you just automatically get access to everybody in that community, and they start telling their friends and stuff like that. So that's definitely one way you can do it. You can go to networking events. There's a lot of free events that happen, like especially here in Sydney, in Australia. There's like events every single day. If you go on WordPress, they show which events are happening, and you can just rock up and network with people there because a lot of those people are marketers, but chances are they suck at Instagram. I'm telling you right now.
Everybody sucks at Instagram, man.
So, bro, I suck at Instagram. I don't even know how to grow on Instagram. Yeah, so 99% of people don't actually know what they're doing on Instagram. So if you can go there and just get a couple of those clients, you're set. I think people make it a bit harder than what it has to be. It's really all about value exchange, giving more value and proving yourself that you know what you're doing and people are going to trust you a lot quicker. So it's not really a numbers game. People think that, if they just DM like 600 people and copy paste, it's going to work out. Chances are it's not going to work out. If you're more strategic with it and think about each person you message and customize it, you're going to have a better response because people can tell that you care. I remember I was talking to Gage a while back, and he told me that that's how he got started. He was just DMing people, just customized DMs, and that guy's killing it now just from that.
He got one of his clients is a billionaire, and he got him just by cold outreach.
There you go.
Just message him, like got in contact with his assistant, like scheduled a call, and then boom, it was like that's like I think one of his biggest clients.
He was a billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. So cold outreach can definitely work, but in my experience, man, I can't agree with you more how you were talking about like producing content. I think that builds the most trust because they see your content, generally they like what they see, and then they reach out to you. It's just a matter of not fucking it up. Like, let's be real. They've already decided you're the right person. It's just, is the price something that fits for them? And yeah, can you close them? Like, can answer their hurdles. So
Yeah.
because
All right. I have another question. How do you go about your pricing? Do you have like a set price for each services, or do you do kind of more value-based pricing depending on what type of value you're going to create for that person?
It depends. So usually I try to sell them one service, man. I usually try to find, like, if I could get them like one service, that's what I would try to get them on. And I do have like set prices right now. I haven't always had set prices in the past. I know it sounds almost kind of bad because you want to be able to like judge someone. Like with that specific client I was talking about, where I managed like 100K in ad spend with them, like just in a month period. I didn't realize that was going to be their budget when we signed the contract. And like, I should have charged way more money for that, to be like completely upfront with you. So that was something that that was like a mistake on my part that I had made. So if it's something like for ad management, like I think really like the sky could be the roof. But when it comes to something like a shout out campaign, I just think it's most fair to actually have like set prices, especially for like lower ticket services too.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Do you have set?
Yeah, I think if it's a templated service, like kind of copy paste, then yes, set prices is the way to go. Like things like giveaways, shout out campaigns, etc. But when you're dealing with like, I guess, Facebook story ads and lead gen, stuff like that, I like to take a more value based pricing model where the price isn't so much like how much time I'm putting into it, or like it's not hourly price per se. It's more what kind of value am I creating for this person? Like going back to the dental practice example, like if I was getting Invisalign leads for dental practice, each Invisalign lead's worth like about $3,000 to $5,000 for that. I mean, each close is worth $3,000 to $5,000 for that dentist. So if I get them like 100 leads per month and they're closing at a rate of like 20%, you know, they're making a lot of money. It doesn't make sense to charge that person $2,000 per month or $1,000 per month. You feel free to charge that person $5,000 per month because they're making a lot of money from that. So that's kind of how I approach it. If they have a lot to gain from it and they're going to make a lot of money, I definitely increase the price because I'm creating that value. And I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair too. And I think the biggest difference is like done for you services versus like done with you services.
Yeah.
Because the done with you services, you can charge a lot more, especially if they're making a lot of money off of it, you know? Your job as like a business is to try and get a fair chunk for yourself. Really quick here. So I want to ask you, Isaac, what service do you recommend for a beginner? Just like as a actual a client, and they have what service do you recommend for a beginner just to sell? If you had to like go back and talk to yourself, for instance, or maybe just a new person who is interested in getting into Instagram marketing.
The easiest thing you can sell as a beginner, in my opinion, is shout out campaigns. Like being strategic with your shout out campaigns, knowing exactly what type of pages I needed to grow that page, and just consultations in terms of helping them set up their profile properly so it does convert, fix up some hiccups that they have so that when you do the shout out campaigns, it does work. The reason I say that is because it's a lot easier to do a shout out campaign than Facebook ads. Because Facebook ads is a bit of a skill set you need to learn about, you know, lookalike audiences, you can learn about this, that. But with shout out campaigns, it's more just about researching and knowing which good pages work. And once you find a few good pages, you can kind of stay with that niche and just rinse and repeat and strike deals with those pages and get better deals for yourself if you're always going back to them and bringing them clients. And yeah, I think that's the easiest way for beginners to really start seeing some progress. And giveaways as well, like what you mentioned. Giveaways are easy. That's like the easiest money you're ever gonna make ever.
It is, as long as you get a good provider, because I don't know, like I tested a lot of giveaways and then like they just shed fake followers to your account. You could tell, you know.
Yeah.
Or especially some of the bigger ones, man. They guarantee a certain amount of followers, and then it's like, oh, you only got this many, and they fell short. So what's the rest?
The work with the rest, yeah. So that's what I would start off with. Reason being is with Instagram ads, it's a bit dynamic. Like costs are always going up, and I don't know if it'll be worth it, I guess, in terms of follower growth in the future, because I predict that the costs will go up. If you're doing Instagram ads for like lead gen, if you know basic funnels, like if you I don't know, pick up ClickFunnels and you know how to create landing pages that convert, that's really handy because a lot of people don't know how to do stuff like that. A lot of people, you know, when they're doing ads, they're sending traffic directly to their website, which is like the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, it
Because
just doesn't convert good.
it doesn't convert. So if you know how to make basic funnels, a basic landing page, know a little bit of copywriting, persuasive writing, get people to sign up, then that's good enough right there.
Yeah, absolutely. If I was to recommend a service to like a beginner who has like zero experience, I'd probably just recommend management. I know that sounds bad because like that's not sexy. Like nobody likes management, but
Yeah.
likely they need some type of content made, or they even just need their content like scheduled. And they'll pay somebody for that because it costs a lot of money, and chances are they don't want to do that, man. Like I don't even want to do that, you know. Like even if somebody paid a lot of money, yeah, I mean,
Dude, man, like content creation is actually pretty good if you're smart enough to outsource it to someone else. So if you know what content works, like, you know, like those entrepreneurship infographics and stuff, there was a time I was doing content creation for someone and I was just outsourcing it to like someone else. Like, I was just getting someone else to make like the post for like $2 per post or something like that. But I was selling the package way higher because, you know, I was delivering it.
no, that's dope.
But if you know, yeah, if you know what works well, what content is gonna blow, what resonates, which is pretty easy, you know, it's just finding the top post, remaking it, you know, adding some branding. You can easily outsource that to some graphics designer, like kid that's like 15 years old somewhere, and pay them like, you know, some like $30, which would be a fortune in their country, right? Like, and create a crazy return. You could definitely base a business just on content creation because no one wants to do content because content's like yuck.
I think that's like one of the best opportunities in 2020 is actually like content creation, because a lot of this growth hacking stuff is just getting harder and harder to do. Um, but I mean, I had a moment where I made content for a specific company I was working with, and oh my God, man, it was like, it was so terrible. Like I had to go cut out all of like their products into like a PNG file, transparent, and put it on this background that matched like their page and all that. And it was, after that, I was like, no more content. Like you schedule something, but then they want something changed up, like the wording, and you have to go back in there, you know. Like
bit of a headache.
yeah, but I think it is like one of the easiest things you can do with no skills. It's just not necessarily content creation, but more so like the management aspect of it, because a lot of the times they'll have photos and stuff that they'll take of like like if it's a local business.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I do think automation tools are super easy to get started on too. Like if there's no issues, and giveaways, man, pretty easy too. Shout outs are too, if you actually like outsource it to some guy who guarantees followers. Which is hard.
Yeah, let's talk about automation for a bit. Would you suggest beginners get into that and learn the ropes, or just not really, it's not worth it anymore?
Man, so if somebody had to like learn Jarvee, I would never recommend that now, man. Honestly, like cancel your subscription. And I know that sounds bad. Like I still have a subscription with him, and I probably should cancel it, to be real with you. Because I don't really use it. But yeah. I do think mass voting is pretty good right now. It's really important that you just like educate your client about how it's not a stable service. It could be gone next week. You tell them what to expect. And a lot of the times, like there aren't issues. Sometimes you do get complaints with people about like how there's an issue with the tool. It's not running right now. But I think if you're doing automation, that's like the only service you should really get into. As well as like you can get into verified accounts and just sell people who are verified clients and use mass looking to get them results, because that still works. Although it's not working as good as it was like 2 to 3 weeks ago. But I think automation is never going to die. I mean, I honestly think if you can just like throw an account in and automate it, you can make a good amount of money that way. And it's really easy. Like it's pretty hands off. You know what I mean? You just go in, check your dashboard every 2 to 3 days, make sure the accounts aren't disconnected. And yeah, I mean, if it was any other type of automation, man, I wouldn't recommend it. Follow and follow, like liking posts. The stuff really just doesn't work that well anymore. And the like thresholds are way too low. I don't know what's your take on that, man.
I agree with you. The glory days are long gone. The glory days of follow and follow are longer. It used to be, Instagram marketing used to be a lot easier 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You could just chuck people on Jarvee, follow and follow, like a couple posts, DM. It was very easy. But I feel like what you mentioned before, we're entering an age where literally the cream of the crop like rise up and get all the clients, because you need to know Instagram marketing from different angles to succeed in today's world, in the terrain. You need to know how to manage shout out campaigns properly. You need to know what a good profile looks like, how to optimize clicks. You need to understand deep links. All these different things add up together, create a really awesome Instagram marketer that's going to get results. If you just know one thing, chances are you're not going to be able to get the type of results that your clients are looking for. That's why I would suggest, if people want to increase their value in terms of Instagram marketing, just increase your skills in terms of everything related to digital marketing. Understand copywriting, understand basic funnels, so that when a client comes up to you, you can kind of have a solution for them. I mean, you don't need to know the technical aspects of how to build it yourself, but know why it's important and where you can get the help needed to get that fixed up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just wanting to keep learning too is a really important aspect of it, like that hunger for knowledge. Like you said, you were doing SEO, and like SEO is a phenomenal way. Like I pretty much get most of my clients through SEO, whether that's in the Facebook search or in YouTube search. So I really think like venturing out from just Instagram is a really good thing to do too, because it'll just help you get more leads as like a business owner, and more leads generally means more sales. So
Hell yeah. Any more questions we've missed out on?
I have no idea, man.
Let's take a look at you. I feel like we covered quite a bit. Let's see.
How to outsource client work, how to close clients, what services should I sell to clients, how to work with automation, how much should I charge clients, what growth strategies still work in 2020, and what the new limits are. You got one best way to grow a page from scratch.
Best way to grow a page from scratch.
That's a video that always goes viral, man. Or not viral, but I think it gets a lot of searches on YouTube.
I feel like viral content still works pretty good.
In what way do you mean? Like just for growth?
As in, like, if you're growing from scratch, like recreating viral content, like repurposing or finding content that's gone viral in the past and just kind of, like those infographics that do really well, like remaking some of those, that still works pretty well from what I've seen on the platform. Reposting things, I feel like doesn't work as well as it used to. It's almost like Instagram knows you're reposting. I don't know what exactly is going on, but I feel like the reach is not as high as it used to be.
It's definitely way lower, man. And there's just not really a lot of these hacks. Like you can't like order a bunch of power likes to blow up your page.
I miss those days.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't work anymore. And that's just the sad truth, man. But I think remaking content has always worked like super amazing. And you don't actually have to remake it. Like you can just change one little thing. Like honestly, like even just making like a really good caption. Like I would go back to like my viral posts, man, and I would find specific posts that did amazing with like a terrible caption. Like I used like a bot to repost it and it totally screwed up like the caption, And then I would just watch that video, use the same thumbnail, but actually add like a good like call to action there, and it would do amazing because it already did amazing on my page. I think like adding a red circle could be like another way of like recreating content, so to speak, because you do something different. You really don't have to actually like remake the entire piece of content, but if you can even just change one thing slightly, it'll usually do pretty good, man, in my experience, even now. But the reach is way down, bro, especially after they split the explore page into niches, dude. Like that was like, well, you had like all this attention on one page and then it's like, oh, let's go split it in like 7-8 different slices, And I do think you get more followers from that though. And like it's easier for targeted followers.
That's true. That's true.
It was like,
bro, I've got another question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, finish what you're saying.
No, I just remember like I could just explode, like get these posts on the explore page and like boom, like it was like 7-figure reach on almost every post. It seemed like,
Oh yeah.
And it's because all the people were on that one page, and there wasn't like 7 to 8 different pages they could click through.
Bro, I used to post some insane screenshots. You used to have like 12 million reach and stuff like that per week, and like it was insane. I was like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" Like when I first stumbled upon your content, I was like, my mind was blown. Looking at your post, like 4,000 followers from one post. I'm just like, what? What is this?
Dude, it's definitely possible today. I mean, is it a lot harder? Yeah, it's going to take a lot more time too. The whole new account thing doesn't really work that well anymore, man. where you just like take a new account, splash some engagement on it. It doesn't just blow up anymore.
Very smarter than that. Yeah. So going back to this question, what do you think is the easiest way to scale? Let's say you've got your agency or your Instagram business and you want to take it to the next level. What things need to be in place to be able to scale?
Okay, so in my opinion, outsourcing a lot more of the work. This has personally made me much happier. It's also made my life a lot easier because now I'm more so just following up with people and making sure that things are getting done. I'm checking in. And that for me has been huge because now I'm not struggling to find clients, close clients, and then fulfill. It's more so now I only have to focus on finding clients and closing them. I guess the second thing would be to have like a content marketing strategy. Because if you have a video like on YouTube and it's ranked for a keyword or like a blog post, you're going to get traffic as long as that stays ranked. Like every day, like while you are sleeping, people are going to come to that video and they're going to see it. You don't need to use content marketing exactly. Like some guys will set up a landing page and run ads to it and they'll just pay for it and they'll get consistent streams of income that way. But I do think the content is something that really differentiates you. And it allows you to open up and be more of like a person and specifically in their mind, their person for the job. So I would definitely say like the content marketing strategy is really important. And something that I might recommend to people too, which is something I really haven't dabbled much in, to be completely open with you when it comes to my like agency and getting clients, is actually investing money into paid ads to, scale that even more so. But I think it's really important too that you figure out what works organically before you start pushing money into ads, because you can burn through like a paycheck or something if you work at a job really fast if you don't have a strategy or like a funnel that already converts.
I agree.
Yeah. So what's your take on that, man, when it comes to scaling?
I agree with what you said about how you kind of need to find ways to get yourself out of the day-to-day kind of like just grinding it out and take a more kind of like project manager role where you're overviewing stuff and focusing more on sales and closing. I feel like as an agency owner, you definitely need to be involved in the sales. I know some people like to hire closers and stuff like that, but I feel like if you really want to take things to the next level, you definitely need to know how to sell. You need to know how to be persuasive. You need to know what services you provide and get these calls with people and close them. That should be your main focus, but have like kind of a system in place where once you are done, someone onboards a client and everything is kind of repeatable, almost templated. So ideally, you'd only have a couple of services that you do that you know exactly what's involved and you know what type of results you're going to get. And each client you onboard, it can almost be like copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. So if you're killing it with Instagram story ads for one particular niche and you know certain ads work well, you could definitely use the same ads for other clients for maybe different tweaks and target the same people because you know this is going to work and you know what type of results you're going to get. And it's a lot easier to scale when you know your numbers, basically. You know your conversions, you know what results you're going to get. You know that you can copy this 7 times and it's going to have the same effect. And all you have to focus on is just closing. So just kind of streamline the whole process. The hardest thing you can do is having several different freaking services you provide for several different niches. And each case is a custom case, because every single time you're going to find new hurdles. You're going to try to figure out what to do. And you're just going to be stuck every single time. You won't be able to really focus on closing, because the only way to scale is to get more sales, right?
Yeah.
So to get sales, you need to make sure everything's streamlined. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, I totally think that's right, man. I think removing yourself from your business, like to a certain degree, is really important. Focusing on sales too can be really good too. I mean, some guys, they outsource it and they do well, like you said, but in my experience, they just have a harder time selling something they really just don't know a lot about. You know what I mean? And I think that if you do know a service and you've done it a bunch of times, not only are you able to sell it better, but you're just way more confident, like when you know your numbers and you know what you can provide for them, because they can sense if you're confident or not confident and like what you're able to provide. That's the truth. Like, and I think honestly that confidence can go a long way.
All right, cool. I got one more question. How can you build your confidence up? Let's say you're new to this whole thing and you don't have that many results. Like let's say you don't really have results. You just built your own page. How can you actually build your confidence up to be able to approach these clients and convince them? Because I know that's a big hurdle for a lot of people. How do you do that?
So I would say, man, you just have to do it. Like at the end of the day, you have to realize that you may fuck up too. And you just need to be okay with that. That's like the first thing. Because you shouldn't be too scared to fail, because the truth is, like, no matter how good you are, you're going to lose clients at some point. Like,
Yeah.
that's just a fact. And, I really think to build up your confidence, just like getting some experience under your belt, or if you're just a beginner, honestly, like testing somebody else's service. Like I have a specific consulting client I'm thinking about, and he tested the service with me. He was really happy with it. And then he brought on 2 more clients and resold it to them. So that was a great approach for him. But even then, like, you just need to get some experience under your belt, whether you're reselling another person's service or if you're providing the service yourself, because without the experience, you're just not going to have confidence. And you can try to fake it till you make it, but I really do think people can see through that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. People can't see through that type of thing. I think what helps a lot of people as well is if you're not comfortable at the beginning, let's say you're not comfortable charging, a lot of money and you don't really have experience. What I don't suggest anyone ever work for free. That's a recipe for disaster. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. But take like the minimum paycheck that is reasonable, like maybe some really low amount. Because as long as someone's paying you, it's like they've got skin in the game. They're going to take you a lot more seriously. And you can use that as just experience to build yourself up. Do that for like 1 or 2 clients, and then increase your prices once you feel a bit more confident in who you are and what you can deliver, that type of thing. But never work for free. There always needs to be something there. If you're going to work for free per se, you need to make sure that you're getting a testimonial or a case study video from the person or something like that. That's how I feel. Because if you work on a basis where you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this for free, and if you like it, we can hop on next month. 9 times out of 10, people are not going to respect you. They're not going to take on the offer at all, and they're just going to disappear.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with that more, man. I hate free work, dude. I really do, with a passion. I think you should be making something, and there are people who do offer me to do like free work for me, and I'll say yes sometimes, but then I end up paying them after they do the job anyways, because I don't tell them that. Like, honestly, in my mind, I'm thinking like I'm going to pay them what they wanted or what they asked for, like after, even if I don't like it. Because their time is worth something, man, and they're doing work for you. And I do think there is like that willingness to go out, and like I respect that, the hustle. I just don't think that they should be working for free.
Don't work for free, guys.
So that could be
going to charge a little bit. Yeah.
But that could be a great way to get experience, whether it's working for free or for a little bit of money, because with that experience, you're going to get confidence,
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Are there any more questions we haven't? I feel like we've tackled. I feel like there's probably like one big question we just missed.
Yeah, I have no idea, man.
Trying to get to your questions.
I really honestly think the agency kind of thing is pretty simple, man. People want to overcomplicate it, and but it's really not that complicated. Like, you just have to, get clients somehow, like close them, and then provide a service and sell them on it, and actually fulfill. Yeah, just do it. I mean, Nike says it right, man. Just do it. People have a way to. Yeah, but I don't know, man. For me, like, I used to do all the cold outreach stuff, and like, God, I would never want to have to go back and do that again, man. Like, to be completely, I mean, it's just so much harder to close. You make way less money. And if you can position yourself as an authority and get clients like through Facebook or through YouTube, by all means do it. Like,
yeah, that cold outreach, especially cold calls. What the hell?
I've done that, man. Like, I've never gotten like a client from a cold call, like for Instagram marketing services.
No. Yeah, I honestly think maybe 80% of my clients come to me. Occasionally I do cold outreach, and what I usually do, these are another pro tip for people that want to do cold outreach, to be a little bit different, send a video. Don't send a message. Send like a quick video. Even shows up in the DM if you're doing it via Instagram, that there's like a play button, and it grabs their attention straight away, and they're more likely to check it out. And listen to it, because you spend some time in your day. You just say, yo, what's up, blah, 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 blah. A quick like introduction, what you do. And if they reply, then you can get into a discussion, and then later on pitch whatever you want to pitch. that definitely works a lot better than just sending a copy paste. Just don't send copy paste, for the love of God.
I remember in the Tai Lopez course, I don't know if you ever bought that course or took it, but there was this one video which I thought was super inauthentic. But what they did was they filmed like they would get a specific niche, you know, exactly like you're saying. Like, let's just use the example of dentists here.
Yeah.
They would go find like 200 dentist office all across the USA, and they would say, "Hey, doctor," whatever the guy's name is, and then like cut, like, and then they would have the rest of the video be like the same video that they recorded one time. Like, I wanted to show you some numbers that we had, and like, and they would blast them all out, email blast them with these videos to basically try and make it look like a personalized video when it was literally just like you know, like an 8-minute video that they just did the intro for like hundreds of times to personalize it. And
no, don't do that. People can tell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying do it or don't do it, but I thought that was pretty interesting. But the video thing works, man. I've personally landed a client with a $3,000 budget, who's a real estate agent actually, via the whole sending a video method when she asked for a resume. And I was like, what the heck? Like a resume? Like, I don't know. Like, who asked for a in this business? Even though I get it. So I was like, how about I send you my portfolio? And I just sent her like a video, showed her some of the things.
Yeah, that works. So guys that are watching, if you want to pitch clients cold, don't pitch straight away. That's the main takeaway here. Don't pitch straight away your services and be like, buy my shit. Spend a little bit of time just building the relationship, and you're gonna be better off, because it shows that you're not hungry for clients, or like, as in like you're not desperate. I mean, and people like that human interactions. People buy off based on how much they like the person. Like, buying is not a logical decision. They're not looking at all your analytics and all your results and going, oh yeah. It's a very emotion-based decision. So if they like you, even if you suck, they'll probably still pay you. You know what I mean? They'll be like, all right, this guy, I like this guy. Let's give him a chop. Let's give him a chance. So definitely focus more on the relationship. Give yourself, I would say, like, give yourself like 3 days before you send the pitch. So send them a request, maybe send them a DM, just saying what's up, comment some of their pictures, like some of their things. And then maybe after 3 days, pitch them or get into a discussion. I feel like that's a good kind of mentality to approach, and it stops you from looking desperate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think building that rapport can even be as simple as, like you said, just liking their posts like a couple days before, you know, because people like that stuff. I mean, I don't know. I remember back when I was in like a kid, man, when people liked my post, it always made me feel happy. Like that social validation. Now it's just a number, but you know, like, thank you so much for being on here, Isaac. I really appreciate talking to you about just Instagram marketing agency. And I think we covered some great tips for beginners and people who just want to start out. Do you have any last things you want to say, or any offers you want to promote here?
First of all, thanks for having me. And yeah, I just want to tell people that it's not as hard as they think, man. Just go for it. Learn as you do it. They say that entrepreneur is someone who jumps off a cliff, then they build their helicopter on the way down. So that's what you got to do with this type of thing. You know, just get started. Don't try to get all the facts. This video is plenty. It's more than enough information to get started and for you to kill it. Join my group, stay active in Christian's group. And yeah, that's it.
Peace out, brother. And also really quick for people, check out Isaac's YouTube. It'll be one of the links below. He's got some really great videos there. Okay. Cheers.
Peace.